Hello, guys. This is Shar. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for returning. Now, I am here to discuss Love and Marriage Huntsville. Didn't even know that it was coming on last night. I could have sworn Carlos King said it would be on after the holiday, but to my surprise, the new episode did show last night. It was a pretty good episode. I enjoyed it from beginning to end. Now, jumping right in, the crew met up in this room, this living room or day room in this Airbnb that the Fletchers rented. And no sooner that they were all congregating in this room and just kind of chatting it up, waiting for each party to get there, Kiki comes sashaying through the door. And I do mean sashaying through the door. There was looks of bewilderedness, disgust, anger, and the Fletchers were pretty much at fault, at least to the Scotts anyway. The Scotts felt like, mainly Tisha and Marcel felt like you should have told them ahead of time. And I agree. I felt like Nell Fletcher should have at least mentioned it to Tisha. Like, I don't know if you guys got y'all stuff together or whatever, but I did invite her. You know, you don't have to work it out on this trip or whatever, but I just wanted to let you know she is coming. Something to that effect. You know what I mean? Like, I do agree that she should have at least mentioned it. You know what I mean? She didn't even mention it at all. And, of course, when she came in, Nell tried to give a disclaimer, as to why Kiki was there and how she ended up there. She mentioned that Kiki told her that she spoke with Mel. Kiki had spoke with Mel. And what did she say that for? The Scotts was just all in and ready to blame Mel for this whole thing of Kiki walking through the door when Mel didn't even know that she was actually coming, right? However, I wonder is the fact that Mel did mention to Kiki about the trip and did mention, if you do want to go, maybe you should call Nell. I can't invite you, but, maybe you can call Nell and Nell will let you come. And that's in fact, what happened. She called Nell and Nell allowed her to come. So I wonder, because I think, and you guys can drop down in the comments, but I believe Mel left that part off. Like, she didn't actually say, well, yeah, I had told Kiki if she wanted to come, she should call Nell. She didn't literally say that. But obviously, she was definitely telling the truth. The fact that she did not know she was coming. That is truthful. So I wonder, I feel like it's going to come out in that way during the reunion. But anyway, so Nell allowed Kiki to take the mic, as she said, which was looked like a group of magic markers or something. She gave her that so she can speak her piece. She apologized to Tisha. She didn't apologize to Marcel, but I guess she felt like she didn't have any reason to because she didn't do anything wrong to him at the barbecue. But she did apologize to Tisha. And she did tell her she invaded her personal space. She did apologize to Kimmi and Maurice. Maurice and Kimmi pretty much did not really accept the apology because they felt like it was a month later. Like, it couldn't be genuine if it's a whole month later. Like, you hadn't even apologized to Tisha and Marceau either. So basically, you really are only apologizing because you're on the trip. And, that's kind of what Nell was expecting. Like, for you to try to somehow right the wrong or apologize or something of that sort. So that was really the only reason why she was actually apologized. And I agree. I mean, if you hadn't apologized in all this time, a whole month, then you pretty much didn't really want to apologize and didn't. You know what I mean? So I do agree with them that they feel like you didn't even really want to apologize, which is why the Scotts pretty much did not accept the apology. So that's just that on that. So moving on, as they congregate through the this room talking, Tisha lets it be. She accepts her apology. However, she immediately walks out of the room and into the kitchen. She goes into the kitchen. She's a little upset. She's tearing up. Her husband later on comes in. He agrees that she's blindsided. It's not right. Then Fletcher comes in. He agrees, I feel bad, but he wants them to continue to come back and, so they can try to work it out. Then Nell goes in there. She's crying. She's really, really apologetic. She's totally, torn up that Tisha is upset and feels blindsided. That wasn't her intent. She kind of was letting her know, if you come and no one really wants you to stay, you have to go. So Nell was pretty much at that point hell-bent on just telling her she has to go. And she came back out and then Marceau, then Mel left out of the living room and went into the kitchen, and then Marceau followed. So I guess Marceau followed Mel into the kitchen just to kind of let her know and tell her, did you have anything to do with this? Nell said Kiki had talked to you. And she was like, no, I didn't have anything to do with that. And he was basically telling her, Tisha felt like you did. We both do. Felt like you had something to do with it. And she was like, no, I didn't. Had no idea. And so he was like, well, you should tell Tisha that, because she feels like you had something to do with it. She feels blindsided by you and Nell. And she was like, well, I'm going to have a conversation with her, because that's not the case. It didn't go down that way, and had no idea. And so he was like, oh, you need to be consistent. You guys going to try to move forward on a clean slate. You need to be consistent. And Tisha needs to be consistent with Mel as well, Marceau. Don't try to act like Mel is the only one that's not consistent and the only one doing things to Tisha or whatever. Tisha does a lot of things and says a lot of things about Mel too. Well, at least in the past. I don't know about now, but at least in the past, she had. So, yeah, she needs to be consistent with Mel as well. They need to be consistent with each other, He tried to play Tisha, Mel was always doing things and saying things about Tisha. And, Mel is continuously always saying, she's going to be better, So be consistent. Anyway, Marceau, he's a gaslighter to the fullest. So she was like, yeah, I have no problem with having a conversation with Tisha. So boom. So eventually, right after that, Martell starts to chime in, because Marceau mentioned something about when Mel had a conversation with him a few episodes back. She was basically saying, you guys picked Martell to be friends with. You allowed him to tell you all this BS that was not true, and you believed it and start acting away with me because you were believing Martell. And so when that was said, Martell decided to chime in and ask Marceau, what was it? What was it that Mel basically was telling you? This, that, and the other. And Marceau was like, I ain't about to get into that. I do not want to have this conversation about you guys' marriage and who did what anymore. I'm not trying to go there. You want to know what Miss Rogers said? You need to ask Miss Rogers. You need to get it from Miss Rogers' mouth. I'm not telling you anything. So that was that. And so he took the floor at that point. He literally took the floor, got in the middle of the group, and just started ranting and raving about he didn't cheat. He cheated, but it was after Mel. Mel is the one that actually cheated. No one is talking about what Mel did, yada, 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 yada. No one really cares. And I'm not about to go back and forth with all that mess that Martell was talking. just know that he had his moment and he was so happy because he basically drew Mel in. Like, this is the first time in a long time like she actually went back and forth with him about all that mess, right? And he loves that. Like, that's what he loves, because he loves to get attention from Mel, no matter if it's good or bad. And Mel was kind of dispelling some rumors or some lies that Martell had told, giving dates and clarity, time frames and everything like that. A lot of people was interested in what she was saying because, certain details they had not heard from her. But, I noticed Kimmi was kind of like just kind of staring in the air. Like, everybody was kind of like standing around in a circle semi. But, yeah, she was kind of just like never really looking directly at Mel when she was talking. However, when Marceau was yelling and screaming, she would look at him or look at the side of his face. Sometimes she ended up standing on the side of him, and she would turn and look at him. And sometimes he would be facing her, and she would turn, she would actually look him directly in the face. However, when Mel would talk, she would kind of just be looking straight ahead and not really looking at Mel when she was talking. But yet other people, the rest of the crew that was standing there, they would actually look at both of them when they would talk. When Mel would talk, everybody had their eyes on her. Martell was yelling and screaming. Everybody was, looking at him, because that's basically what people do when people talk. You tend to look at the person that was talking. But Kimmi wasn't doing that. She would kind of look straight in the air or straight ahead when Mel was talking. And I noticed when everybody left that living room and went to the kitchen for whatever reason, she never did come in there for any reason. However, when Mel asked Tisha to come in that kitchen so she can talk to her and explain to her she had no idea that Kiki was coming, I noticed that somehow Kimmi ended up in that kitchen at that time, pretending like she wanted to get something to eat at that very moment. You know what I mean? Ear hustling. Basically, ear hustling. Kimmi is, I guess, I don't know if it's because people are talking about her so bad as it relates to her marriage and stuff like that. She feels away, but feels away with who, for what? I mean, Mel isn't doing it. It's just that what we see on the show from your husband is like, yeah, people are going to comment on it. And it's like now she's bitter. And we see her talk about certain parts and certain things that was been said about her online. However, I didn't know anyone was talking about her hair. Like, no one, to me, I feel like, but hey, if she says she heard it, I guess she heard it. But I didn't never really hear anyone talking about her hair. Matter of fact, I never heard anyone talk about her bout with cancer. I've only heard people talk about how many times, how many different scenarios that she has mentioned on the show about her meeting Marceau. She has like 7 or 8 different scenarios on how they met and when they met. Or her being a side chick. Or all this mess about how Maurice, handles her as it relates to him and her and the whole sex thing. That's the only thing I hear people talking about as it relates to Kimmi, and how she's henpecked or male identified or pick me and things like that, all related to like how she is with her husband. I have never heard anyone talk about this woman and her bout with the C word, losing her hair, or any of that stuff. But I don't scour the internet for Kimmi information. Now, she says she heard it and seen it or whatever online or heard people talking. Hey, I will have to take her word for it. But, she ended up in that kitchen because she wanted to overhear whatever she could overhear of Mel and Tisha talking. So I believe, and I know that Mel is probably never going to climb that tree again with being really, really close with Tisha, because she can't trust them. She can't trust any of them any longer. But I believe if Mel and Tisha was to get cool again, Kimmi would be pissed. she would be pissed. She would definitely be pissed because she is definitely Team Scott at this point. And she was again supporting and siding with Martell when Martell was doing all that nonsense, yelling and screaming unnecessarily. She was basically on Martell's side, like, and then gonna say in her confessional, like, oh, you gotta own up to your part anyway, Kimmi, anyway. And then has the nerve, and I have this clip at the end of this video, and I pray to God that the video is not very long, but I pray that it's not long, but it may be, because I do want to talk about Kimmi and Maurice at the horseback riding range. But Kimmi had the nerve to say in one of her confessionals that what was going on between Martell and Mel during the time when Martell was doing all that yelling was sad and hard to watch. No, Kimmi, it was not sad and hard to watch. It was comical because Martell tries to get a moment and tries to draw Mel in and get attention from Mel, and that's really all he wanted. And Mel gave it to him for whatever reason. Why? I guess she felt froggish that day, so she jumped. She kind of just gave him what he wanted or whatever. But that wasn't sad. What's sad is what's going on with you and your husband and how your husband treats you, and the lack of his empathy for not necessarily what has gone on with you. Like, I hope he cared about you having the C word, but it's really how he's handling you after the fact. Like, you have to really heal. Like, it's a process. You're not going to be 100% just instantly. You know what I mean? Things come back to normal gradually or what have you. And he doesn't care about that. He's not waiting. He wants you to jump and suffer through it. Turn over, roll over, and suffer through it. That's what he wants. That's what he wants from you. And he doesn't have an empathetic bone in his body as it relates to you and that. That's what's sad and hard to watch, Kimmi. That's what's sad and hard to watch and hard to listen to. And so, to fast forward to the horse range, Kimmi was scared to ride the horse. I guess, if she's not comfortable, she's kind of scared of them or whatever. A lot of people are. I might be even scared to ride the horse because I've never really rode one, I don't think. No, I haven't. So, yeah, and they're big and tall. I might be scared to do that. That's normal. No one's tripping on that. However, if you remember Maurice, he was just like, oh, while she was saying she was kind of scared and concerned and this and that, he wasn't even studying her. Like, it's not funny, but he wasn't even studying her. He didn't give her no type of words of encouragement. He didn't give her a hug, a handshake, a kiss on the forehead, a kiss on the cheek. It'll be all right. You don't have to ride one. I'm just going to ride one. I'll be right back. We can sit here and talk to this therapist together, something. While she was concerned and was just like, no, I'm not going to ride one. I've heard they kind of notice and sense when you're scared, even when you're on top of them, da, 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 da. And he was like, oh, and pointing like, oh, that one. I want that one over there. Ain't giving a 2 F's about her being scared. You know what I mean? Most husbands or boyfriends, even though they still ride the horse and still go about their business with that. I'm not saying that he should have stayed behind, but heck, some husbands would have. Some boyfriends would have, But, I'm not tripping that he went ahead and rode the horse. It's okay. They went to a little retreat or whatever, most husbands and wives or girlfriend and boyfriend would be like, well, go ahead. I'm not going to ride it, but go ahead. You can. I'm not tripping. It's okay. I don't know if that kind of conversation took place with them, but if it did, they didn't show it, okay? He looked completely and totally insensitive and not empathetic to her being scared to ride the horse. These are the things that's hard to watch, Kimmi. This type of stuff is hard to watch, okay? what Martell was going through is not hard to watch. Mel ain't studying them. It's the divorce. The ink has been dried for 3 years. Like, he's the only one suffering. He's the only one pressed to be with Mel. There's nothing hard to watch about that, unless, people who sympathize with Martell, which, like maybe that's what she meant. It was hard to watch for Martell, I guess. I don't know. But, and I did like the fact that Stormi, was actually taking up for Mel as well. And it wasn't so much, she was taking up for Mel, but she was also hearing what went on, hearing what Martell was saying. And what's right is right and wrong is wrong. What she heard from Martell is that you cheated first, and the fact that you think that Mel cheated after the fact justifies you cheating in the first place, which it doesn't. And like she said, whatever happens after the wife or girlfriend finds out, or in this case wife, after a wife finds out that the husband is cheating, nothing else matters. It's on from there. She can cheat if she wants to. If that's what she chooses to do, you've already broke the bond. Excuse me. And that's what it is. That's just what it is. And he was like, no, I thought, when you're married, you're not supposed to cheat. Man, you've cheated already, though. So the bond is broken. Now, if she wanted to do like Nell Fletcher and not cheat or whatever, which I don't think Mel was with a man physically. I don't, she don't stutter, she don't blink, she don't really give an indication that something heavy went on these dates, or the one date she went on, or whatever the case may be. She just don't seem like nothing heavy went on, in my opinion. So, I don't believe anything happened anyway. But if it did, she had already caught you cheating. The woman was already calling the house. Like she said, she found you in a car with the woman. Man, please. Anyway, go sit down. So, yeah. So Stormi was basically reiterating what she was hearing from Mel and hearing from Martell, and basically was like, boy, whatever. You cheated first. So whatever she does after the fact is on her, and it's your fault. You can't fault anyone but yourself, is basically what she was saying. But of course, he was yelling and screaming, don't agree. I noticed Stormi's husband was like trying to kind of tell Stormi to kind of just let it go, because I ain't about to stand here and let Martell be yelling in your face too much longer, But yeah, I thought it was a good episode from beginning to end. Kiki, yeah, I think she needs to step away from the group. Kiki, unfortunately, I like her, but she does seem like she's a loose cannon. However, I do feel that Tisha and Kiki have been doing and saying things to each other for years and years and years, and it may have been spearheaded by the mother, Tisha's mother, whatever her name is. What's that lady's name? Miss Wanda. It's just a toxic relationship between those two that'll probably never be right. Because both parties think that the other has did them wrong, and that, the other really doesn't own up to what they've said or done. So, I don't see them ever being really, really cool anyway. So, yeah, I don't know if she should just not be on the show anymore, but I do feel that she probably shouldn't be on the group trips. And then, by looking at this episode, I noticed what Kiki probably got mad about, and started talking about Mel, because I do feel that Kiki did talk about Mel to the YouTuber guy. Because I do feel like she was mad. And the problem with Kiki is when she gets mad, she gets out of control. Her emotions take over, and she's saying do whatever she feels in those moments. So I truly do believe she was saying some negative stuff about Mel, because I feel like she felt like Mel didn't support her when they was all sitting around the campfire. She left off the fact that she did tell Kiki to call Nell and see if, Nell will allow you to come on the trip. She left that part off. So it just seems like Melanie Rogers was just simply saying, I didn't know she was coming. As to say, I ain't know nothing about it. Nothing. Leaving off the fact that you are the one that suggested that I called Miss Nell to even come. You know what I mean? So that's probably what pissed her off. And she decided to go talk to a blogger, and he exposed her. Basically. And she went and called her mama, complaining about it, and her mama, being a mama supporting their child, was talking mess about Mel as well, because they felt like Mel did Kiki wrong, right? So yeah, I don't know. She probably will be not on next season, because I don't, if the Scotts don't like her, and now you've talked about Mel, because I'm quite sure Mel ain't gonna be close with you no more, because usually when you wrong somebody, y'all ain't gonna be close no more, because she can't trust you. So who you gonna be with? Who gonna invite you to events or over to their house? Nobody. So yeah, she probably won't be back. I don't know. But you guys listen to this video of Kimmi basically saying that what was going on between Martell and Melanie Rogers at the house was sad and hard to watch, not realizing that mess was not sad. It was comical. And basically Martell wanted to draw Mel in, and he got exactly what he wanted. So he felt good for the rest of the trip. You saw how happy he was. That's all he wanted, was attention from Mel, even negative attention. And really, in reality, what's hard to watch is what's going on between you and Marcel. You guys drop down in the comments. Tell me what you think about this episode. And please like the video and subscribe if you haven't already. Ciao.
What came first, the chicken or the egg kind of thing, which is unfortunate. Everybody has to, take accountability for the part that they were culpable in this situation. So it makes the conversation, I imagine, tough to have in this